All right, hello everyone. Tyler King here alongside Vinny Benedetto after Game 6 between the Nuggets and the Thunder. Denver keeps its season alive, Vinny, for a couple more days and sends you back to Oklahoma City for a third time in this series. You're getting pretty used to the Paycom Center, and you'll be there again Sunday afternoon for the matinee Game 7, which figures to be an epic Game 7. It's the third time in the last 6 years that the Nuggets have played multiple Game 7s in a single postseason, dating back to 2019. They obviously beat the Clippers in Game 7 in this building I guess that was a little less than 2 weeks ago at this point. And now we'll play Game 7 in OKC on Sunday. Like I said, the first road Game 7 for the Nuggets in another team's building since they played the Lakers in 2012 in the first round. They had that technical road Game 7 against the Clippers, but that was in the bubble, so that doesn't really count too much. But Vinny, tonight the story was Jamal Murray's flu game. He was mysteriously added to the injury report earlier this afternoon with an illness, and David Adelman was very frank before the game that he wasn't sure if Jamal was going to be able to go. It was right up until game time, but he looked like regular old Jamal Murray that we've seen in the playoffs. Played a game high, I think, 42 minutes, 25 points. Was just the best version of Jamal Murray, and the Nuggets needed every bit of it tonight.
Yeah, and one thing David Adelman said post game was, the tougher the situation, the better Jamal Murray tends to be, and that's something that we've seen certainly before, but I don't know if we've seen it in a situation where the stakes are as high as they were tonight. So yeah, it started with scoring. Like the first bucket was that 4-point play that got the Nuggets on the board.
He got 11 points in the first quarter. Came out firing.
Big first quarter for him. Quiet second quarter. Big again in the third quarter as the Nuggets kind of, Oklahoma City was up 3 at halftime. I believe the Nuggets led by 8 to start the fourth quarter.
9, I think it was.
Okay. But Jamal had his fingerprints all over that kind of decisive third quarter. So just kind of another chapter in the Jamal Murray tough luck lore.
Yeah, third straight game the Nuggets have taken a lead into the fourth quarter. They led by 6 in Game 4, led by 8 going into the fourth quarter of Game 5. And tonight, like I said, they were up, I think it was 90-81, because a guy that we haven't talked a whole lot about in this series, Julian Strawther, comes in with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, hits 2 threes, gets an alley-oop layup that puts the Nuggets up 10, and then I think Shai got a free throw at the other end to make it a 9-point game. But this time the Nuggets were able to hang on. What did you see different about the Nuggets in the fourth quarter, other than Julian Strawther basically closing the game over both Michael Porter Jr. and Russell Westbrook, something neither of us ever expected, not just in this series, but in the playoffs in general?
Yeah, massive game from Julian. And one thing, at the beginning of the playoffs, David Adelman was asked about what Julian's role was going to be, and it was basically stay ready.
He had that weird injury in the back half of the season. Yep. It never really got back up to speed, and it felt like that was just kind of it for him as a playoff guy. Maybe Jalen Pickett was going to be a guy, but now it's Julian.
Yeah, and I think he's got to be a guy you lean on in Game 7, especially with the uncertainty surrounding Aaron Gordon's hamstring, Michael Porter Jr.'s shoulder, Jamal Murray's illness. So there's a lot of
Westbrook just had a bad series in general.
There's a lot of things that I think could lead to Julian Strawther playing even a larger role Sunday. But to your original question about what the Nuggets did better in the fourth quarter, it felt like they were just a bit more patient. There were some turnover struggles there in the final few minutes.
That was after they had built a almost nearly 20-point lead at that point.
Yeah. So things were gonna have to really, really go south. So I think, certainly to start the fourth quarter, there were non-Jokic minutes, something they didn't do in Game 5, and I think, Joker returned to an 11-point lead or something like that. So I think the rest they got Joker was important, and the fact that it wasn't like David Adelman had to rush Joker and Christian Brown back into the game, provided them with a little bit extra energy to put toward closing this one out.
Yeah, we haven't even really mentioned Nikola Jokic yet, but 29 points to lead the Nuggets. He did have 12 free throws in the game, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. Jamal Murray, Julian Strawther were kind of the big storylines, but I mean, if Game 5 was his magnum opus of the series, for sure. Game 1 you could mention as well, but Game 5 for sure, and then tonight he just kind of backs it up again but this time he gets the help from the guys he didn't get in Game 5.
Yeah, and the help feels like it's probably going to be what the series comes down to, just because, to your point, 28 for Joker tonight, 14 and 8?
29, 14 and 8, yeah.
And that's just kind of a statement to his greatness, how that kind of stat line can just be like, oh yeah, Nikola. So yeah. He's one of those guys. Anytime a game like Sundays comes up, he talks about how he approaches it the same as any other game, and I think it's a mindset that has been really beneficial to him and the Nuggets. So I would anticipate another big game from him on Sunday.
On the flip side, for the Thunder, they do get a great Shai Gilgeous-Alexander game. He had a game high 32 points, 11 to 16 from the field. He went to the free throw line 11 times. He had 6 assists in the game as well. He was excellent, but the Thunder didn't really get anything from anybody else. Most notably, I think Jalen J-Dub Williams, who had 6 points in the series. 6 points in the game, excuse me. First time in the series he's been held to single digits. 3 of 16 from the field. I think the one that sticks out to me is he smoked that layup/dunk late in the fourth quarter. Not late in the fourth quarter, but in the fourth quarter I think it was still about a 10-point-ish lead for the Nuggets. And he had got a steal and got a transition opportunity. I think it wasn't a great contest from, I think, Christian Braun, and he just kind of smoked the layup/dunk attempt, whatever it was. And it was clear he didn't have it tonight. And that's probably the biggest reason why OKC was never really able to get back in the game once the Nuggets built that lead late in the third quarter.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to like the work Aaron Gordon has done defensively for most of the series. What was it? J-Dub had a massive. Was that Game 5 when he had 30?
It was. I think it was one of the games. It was Game 3. I think he had here when it was one of the games they lost. Actually, he had 32 points. I think in that Game 3. But he's been really good throughout the series.
He has been for the most part, and I think that's going to be an important part of Sunday. Is if Aaron Gordon isn't, he's not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
So if Aaron Gordon is limited as we expect, or maybe can't go at all, I think how the Nuggets defend J-Dub is going to be a big storyline in Game 7.
Yeah, you mentioned Aaron Gordon. He was grabbing his left hamstring near the end of the game. It looked like he stretched on a kicked ball. It was a weird turnover there. I think that Alex Caruso forced. He was trying to get the ball back, and he was kind of grabbing at the hamstring. It was a little bit of a sign of concern for the Nuggets. You and I weren't in the locker room at this point after the game because we were writing each of our stories, but it sounded like when he talked to reporters in there that he didn't sound too great about the hamstring, but I think there's obviously the first time all series, there's 2 days off in between these games. I would be stunned if he doesn't give it a go on Sunday, but he won't be 100%. Is that all something that leans in OKC's favor, or were you already kind of leaning that way? I mean, it's a really fascinating game for a very young Thunder team that hasn't been in a situation like this. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's played in 1 Game 7 in his career, and that was in the bubble, and that was before the Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren were a part of this core. So Alex Caruso's obviously played in a lot of big games throughout his career. He won that bubble championship with the Lakers, but there's not a lot of guys that have been in a situation like this, and the Nuggets have been in plenty of them, as we mentioned at the top. What are you looking for going forward to Sunday? Like I said, extra day off, but it just feels like this is going to be, it could be shaping up for one of those all-time classic games where the old guys who have been there, done that, are up against the young guns who are, I think, obviously more talented and have the better and deeper roster, but maybe experience wins out for the Nuggets on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an all-time game. Just to your point, the difference in experience versus fresher legs on Oklahoma City. The Thunder are certainly healthier at this point. And I feel pretty comfortable saying Joker and Jamal are probably going to show up for Game 7, but then it comes down to the question marks. What can Michael Porter Jr. give you? I thought he was
up and down.
Okay, this was his most mediocre game of the series.
Yeah, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't spectacular. He had a couple threes that were important, but that was kind of about it.
Yeah, and so that's the first time we've seen that from Mike in terms of just an all right game. So
Russell Westbrook was kind of a disaster tonight.
Yep, as you mentioned, it's been a tough series for him. So I think, if he can show up and give him something, Game 7, then go a long way. But I feel like there are just so many question marks facing the Nuggets right now that if I had to lean one way, I'm still leaning Oklahoma City. I'm sticking with, I picked them in 6 to start the series, so I think I'll lean Thunder in 7 here.
I picked them in 5, so what I look like the idiot right now. But we both picked Oklahoma City to win the series. I think we'll both stick with that going into Game 7. Vinny and Marqueza will be there at the Paycom Center on Sunday afternoon. We will be back after that, kind of depending on what's going forward. If the Nuggets win, Game 1 of the West Finals will be right here at Mall Arena on Tuesday against the Big Bad Timberwolves, who have had the Nuggets number the last couple of years. So that would be a fascinating series, but they got to get through Sunday first. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to go to denvergazette.com to read all of our coverage from tonight's game and leading up to Game 7, which should be an epic one, like both Vinny and I think, for Game 7. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out all of our coverage at denvergazette.com.